and welcome back to Starseed Oracle. Thanks for being here today. We are looking into the remainder of 2024. So this is going to be quite the reading. I also am going to lay out, I'll just go ahead and go through the piles, and then I went ahead and did kind of just an overview looking at the astrology for the rest of 2024, and I just wanted to pull out a few key moments. So if you're interested in that, you can hang out after we introduce the piles. And if not, go ahead and look in the description box and flip through to click on whichever pile is calling to you or piles. So I really thought this was a great reading to do right now because it's about to be the solstice. So happy birthday to all those Cancer suns out there. I hope you enjoy your season. And yeah, we're halfway through the year, so I figured it's a great time to check in on where we are at astrologically, and it's interesting to look forward ahead to the rest of the year of what's coming, and hopefully this reading will offer some guidance with that as well for all of you watching. So yeah, we've got 3 piles. I have pile 1 here with this Lepidolite. I'll show the stones today. Let's see. Pile 2 is the Herkimer diamond here. And pile 3 with the black Kyanite. So like I said, feel free to choose. Wow, that was glitter on my hand. I love that. Glitter everywhere all the time. Feel free to choose whatever pile or piles you're being drawn to at this time, and I will see you at your reading. And if you want to stick around, I'm just gonna point out a few cute key dates and things that are coming forward for the rest of 2024 in terms of the astrology. All right, so looking ahead at 2024, I just picked out some key moments. Obviously, there's a ton to look into for the rest of the year, but some important things to pay attention to. In July, the very beginning of July, Saturn's going to go retrograde and will be retrograde until mid-November in Pisces. So whatever has been happening in terms of Saturn moving through the sign of Pisces for you, if you have any placements in Pisces, this could be a significant moment of reflection, of starting to understand a little bit more about what Saturn's actually doing in this part of your chart. So that's definitely something to keep note of. And the retrograde, Mercury is going to go retrograde in Virgo and Leo from August 5th through the 28th. So that's something to pay attention to, especially those with planets or placements in Virgo and Leo. And then Pluto is going retrograde and moving back into Capricorn from September 2nd through November 20th. And this is obviously very significant. We've had Pluto for quite a while now in Aquarius, and this last little stint of Pluto moving through Capricorn is the very last time in our lifetime that we're ever going to have Pluto there. So it is this moment of finality, of integration, of tying up any loose ends, or just like allowing things to flush out, right, of whatever we've been learning in that Capricorn part of our chart. And it's also a very potent moment because Mars is going to be retrograde through the sign of Leo and Cancer. And this Mars retrograde cycle is pretty intense because Mars the entire time is going to be in this opposition to Pluto as it transitions between Capricorn into Aquarius. So it is an opportunity, I believe, for us in our personal lives for some deep healing around any wounding that we have with our Mars, around any hidden things. So it could bring about a lot of uncovering of perhaps issues regarding our loss of willpower, claiming our own sense of wanting to live, right? Like that way that Mars is our life force, reclaiming our life force and our sexuality. It's also tied to issues, obviously, of conflict and rage. And with Pluto there, that can be quite explosive and destructive. So this also is, of course, the world around us and everything that is perhaps coming to a head at that time. So I just wanted to give everyone a heads up about that cycle because it is really quite intense. So those of you who are already on that path of working with your Mars, like this is going to be such a deep moment of potentially a lot of healing that is possible there with this opposition to Pluto. And because it is such a long cycle, that opposition, like I said, end of October through early May of 2025, like I hope all of us, the, you know, greatest opportunities here to like really take life by the hand, like the divine by the hand, and say like, please lead me through this cycle, because we're all going to need support, I believe, at this time. And whoever you can support through your process as well, that will be welcome. You know, I think the world will all be welcoming some softness through this cycle, I will say. But obviously we'll continue to do readings through that time and probably share more about that as it goes along. But I just wanted to give everyone a heads up about that. And the other thing I wanted to mention is eclipse season. So the second eclipse season of this year happens September 17th, kicks off the lunar eclipse in Pisces. So again, people with Pisces placements, it's going to start to be a bigger time for you as the nodes next year will move into Virgo and Pisces. And so this is the very first one of the eclipses that we'll have in Pisces. So that is September 17th with the lunar eclipse. So it's a full moon eclipse. And then October 2nd is the solar eclipse, the new moon eclipse in Libra. So again, September 17th through October 2nd, that is eclipse season of this year. So I hope that's a quick rundown. Obviously, there's so much more happening, but these are very key moments and important things to think about as we enter into the rest of 2024. And yeah, I'm super excited to get into these readings and to see what is in store for all of you beautiful people watching. So I will see you in your reading. Feel free to just, choose. Hopefully you've decided what pile or piles are calling to you, and I'll see y'all shortly. Bye. Hey Pile 1, welcome to your reading today. We are looking at the second half of 2024 and what to expect. So I have a lot of things to get through. I'm excited to look into here. So some of the questions we've got: what is sustaining, like what are you continuing to focus on that you're aware of? And then we'll look at what's moving towards you or entering or perhaps re-entering your life that you are unaware of at this time. And then we'll look at opportunities and advice concerning the material world, and opportunities or advice concerning your spiritual life. And we also will get a planet and like a house. I'll roll the dice for a house that might be of particular concern or something to pay attention to for the remainder of 2024 as kind of opportunity to check in with cycles that might be pertinent for you specifically. And finally, we'll have a card in true honor of Jupiter moving through Gemini, something to offer, maybe a mantra or a kind of affirmation essentially that can support you through the rest of 2024. So let's get into this. Y'all chose the Lepidolite here, which I'll stick over here. And this, we've got some cards here. Put them over here. And I wanted to let's go ahead and just get the planet and the house first. I think that'll be good. So let's do, these cards are really funny. So this is the only like planet cards I have. Anyways, the artwork's a little like funny, but that's okay. Okay, so for pile 1, what is a significant and important planet to pay attention to for the rest of 2024? I'm feeling this one. Oh, the sun. Okay, great. So as the sun transits through the zodiac, maybe noticing any planets, especially in your own personal chart, that the sun is crossing, as those are offering moments of renewal, right? And also, I would just say paying attention to your solar energy. You might be interested in watching the last reading that I did, because this actually is messages from the sun, if you haven't seen that already. But checking in with your own solar journey. And like I said in my last reading, it's all about this idea of the sun being our hero's journey. So tapping in with solar energy too, getting out in the sun as much as possible, and yeah, paying attention to what's happening in terms of the sun's transits and, like I said, where it is affecting any planets of yours, perhaps. So let's roll the dice for a house. All right, so we have the 5th house. Oh, that's great. That's, again, sun energy. That's Leo's house, right? Creativity and projects and, yeah, all those things that we birth into the world. That's really amazing. So maybe your 5th house is getting a lot of action for the rest of 2024. And it's some place where you have a lot of opportunities for, you know, rejuvenation, for you to illuminate, shine your light into the world, to be seen. That's, you know, that could be really interesting potential there going on with the sun. So that's awesome. I will leave that there. And let's go ahead and get into what, the first 2 questions. So we're looking at what is something that you are continuing to focus on, that you're aware of, like something that's sustaining already that you've begun, and then we'll look at what is moving towards you that, or entering or re-entering your life, that you are unaware of at this time. So for the collective, watching pile 1. What would be sustaining for them at this time? For the remainder of 2024. Okay, wow. Sun. Are there Leos in this pile? Or some of y'all maybe have significant Leo placements. Let me just grab the second question here. So what's moving towards you, entering or re-entering your life that you are unaware of for the remainder of 2024? Just grab a couple of these as well. Any further insights, especially into what is entering or re-entering your life. Pile 1. I'm thinking epiphanies with this Hanged Man energy and Mother of Swords. And the Mother of Swords, I just think grace, like divine grace coming through. Something very unexpected here. And with the sun, this is just tying essentially back into what I was saying here. So maybe you are at a moment where you're kind of in the spotlight, or you're just enjoying being seen more publicly in the world for your actual gifts that you do want to bring into the world. You're being properly seen is what I'm getting the sense of, and that's just going to continue sustaining through the rest of 2024. And that's, I love the birds on here too. I actually, when I was preparing for your reading, I felt a lot of the like bird energy and seeing like murmurations while I was pulling your oracles and such. So this is just making me think of that too, almost like you shining in community in a greater whole in some way. And this so this Hanged Man and Mother of Swords energy coming through, I'm really getting this sense of there might be some greater moment of pause, but essentially it is creating this miraculous clarity for you in your life. So if you are sensing later on in the year, there's this moment of feeling restricted or feeling like you suddenly this solar energy is maybe just taken down a notch or something, or you're having this to go within. Sometimes it's almost like if you think to times when we get sick or something like that, where we're sort of forced back into a moment of pause, whatever it is, or even it could be you deciding to take a rest for yourself. There is some kind of new perspective that's needing to be gained through this. And like I said, I was sensing epiphany through that. So if there may just be this opportunity later in the year for something really significant that you are needing to understand about your journey at this time. Maybe something around your solar journey as well, like a new idea being birthed that you never even imagined or thought, could come forth. This could also be you stepping more into this energy of Mother of Swords, of being an excellent communicator, of being incredibly like a wonderful counselor, speaker, mentor, just having the discernment of truth, right? Having truth at your fingertips, being able to be in full integrity through your speech. And that, I think, is really making me feel that Jupiter moving through Gemini energy as well, that there might be an impeccability to you that is coming through this Hanged Man moment. And so just if you can welcome that in whenever it comes there, where there's like a perhaps a moment of deep pause and you're being sort of held in a quiet place for a little while, just make sure to fully like let that run through, because there are miracles really coming for you through that experience, to step way more fully into your voice specifically, and just complete truth, finding an even deeper place of your own sense of truth than you may even know is possible in this moment, which seems pretty wild since you're in this sun energy already and like have so much sun activations happening for you at this time. So the next piece here we're looking at opportunities and advice concerning the material world, and then opportunities and advice concerning your spiritual life. So for the material world one, we have this ritual card coming through. For the spiritual life, we have Cracked Open, Rock Bottom, Surrender to the Alchemy of Life. These feel so reflective too to this, like the sun, although we have the moon, that's interesting. So lunar energy coming through with that too, but that seems there's like a balance happening here. And with the Cracked Open, it feels like Hanged Man, right? Like having to go to the bottom of something to surrender to it. That word surrender always makes me think of the Hanged Man. Yeah, and I wanted to draw a couple of cards too from here for that, to clarify these cards a little bit more. So for the collective watching pile one, what else can we understand? Opportunities in their material world. Wow. Here we go. Magician, 1-1. Okay. And what can we understand for pile one? In terms of opportunities, advice regarding their spiritual life. Maybe 2024. I believe that's the 7 of Cups. Let's see. I'll remove everything here. Pile one for this card ritual to come out along with the Magician. For material world advice, right? I think there are so many opportunities here coming your way for you just to ground manifestations and things that you're working on that really reflect your solar light. And I feel, particularly with the moon showing up here, though, it is giving me this sense of tapping in with the moon cycles in general and finding ways to create rituals in your daily material life can really support your light finding grounding, essentially, in the material in a much more powerful way, and in a way that is more sustainable for you and your body, and just taking care of your health and whatnot. I'm really also getting the sense that eclipse season is going to be quite significant for you, with the sun and the moon showing up in this way. And with, yeah, like I think too, because of this magician energy, there is kind of this freshness to what's going on in the material, where there is that moon mystery piece to it, but at the same time, that magician energy where you do have a sense of control over what's going on, especially when it comes to your daily routines and the rituals that you do for your own self, whether it just be taking care of your physical body, or the rituals you do with your family, or that you do in terms of your what you would consider as spiritual practices. So deepening into those through the rest of 2024 can be really helpful, I'm seeing, in the material world sense, and really support whatever it is that you are birthing and creating, because it seems like you are doing a lot of creative work right now in the world, whatever that means. Yeah, I'm just seeing children, working with children. So maybe you do have kids, or that's a significant part of your life. That's such a Leo and fifth house thing, is children. But we all have the various children, which can be our projects, our pets, the things that we're here to accomplish and work towards and birth into life, right? So whatever that means to you, find rituals that can support those things, that really, really help you continue working along and sharing more of your light at this time for the rest of 2024, because it will significantly support you, I believe, also in this time when this hanged man energy comes in and you are seeking this deeper clarity. Because with the cracked open card, this is opportunities, right? This is opportunities and advice here. And this projection, 7 of Cups. So for this to come out like that, to me, it's a reminder of how these moments that we feel break us are truly supporting us to level up, right? Like, they are giving us an opportunity to see ourselves in a way that we may never have in the past, or to understand it's okay to shed certain identities, right? Like, it's okay to no longer feel connected to some way we identified with. I don't know if you're going to reach a breaking point with all of this solar energy where maybe you're like, actually, I need to head in a new direction, right? Or it's almost like being burned by the sun because you've been going so hard, like your battery draining or something. You reach a kind of breaking point here, perhaps. But that is a gift. It's a gift on the journey for reflection, where you're going to be entering into this deep clarity with the Mother of Swords. And truly, like with Miracle Hour coming through, that it is this great, like, gift from the divine, if you can see it as such when you're going through that process. And to remember with the projections card as well, that just to be cognizant of what is yours and what is not yours to hold, especially when you're going through a moment like this. And this just makes me feel of breaking through conditioning, or whatever paths that you have been traversing, that there may be a moment of clarity, of understanding things that you have followed that, or maybe someone else's idea of what you should or shouldn't be doing, and it's okay to release that and to really move through it. I'm being drawn right now to the Mars-Pluto opposition as well, and this Seven of Cups being a moment to really work through any kind of issues of conflict, that like interpersonal conflict that may arise by having the opportunity to see any conflicts or disagreements with other people as these opportunities to be cracked open, as opportunities to go deeply into yourself, to pause and to reflect on where is this emotion coming from, right? If you're being triggered, right? Like where is that, what's the root of this trigger really? And how can I get as far in as possible so that I can get this moment of deep understanding within myself? This is, it's going to be a lot coming through the end of the year with that Mars-Pluto opposition. So I'm thinking as well, when the sun moves through Capricorn, which then it will highlight that opposition as well, since it will join Pluto, that could potentially bring a lot of clarity for you at that moment when the sun comes to illuminate that part of the chart there. So absolutely pay attention to that in Capricorn season when the sun crosses Pluto. It could be a very significant moment. I guess it will actually be, Pluto will be in the first degrees of Aquarius, so like right when Aquarius season begins would be an interesting time to pay attention to in terms of gaining this clarity here. Yeah, so let's look at the final question, which is regarding the Jupiter moving through Gemini, and I just thought it would be good to get some affirmations or maybe like a blessing or something, a mantra you could perhaps say. This deck has those for almost every card, so I just thought it would be good to do that. So for you, group 1, we have the connection card coming through, which seems relevant with the projections card here too. The opportunity there to work through conflict with others and to remember, I'm just thinking right now, like when we are in conflict with others, to remember that you're not that you're working together, right? That this is a problem you solve together. You're not against the other person. You're working for the connection itself. And let me see the book here on this one. This speaks to the deeper connections, right? That are these threads that connect us to others, and almost fated connections that feel destined, which often the people who we're drawn to, right, who we have these connections with, can be some of the most triggering, And so I think this is coming through as another reminder of that's all part of this process. Like being cracked open is a gift, and not to forget that. Like when we split open and really, really allow that, when we sit in that hanged man energy and we just surrender whatever resistance that we have and allow ourselves to be still and quiet in that, that is when the miracles come through. That is when we find the gold in our connections and in our own hearts as well. And so for this card, let's see if there's a good... Yeah, it says, an invisible thread connects those who are destined to meet, regardless of time, place, or circumstance. The thread may stretch or tangle, but it will never break. And the mantra here is, I trust the tapestry of my life's design. I am in full faith that every moment and experience is threaded by the divine. I think that's a really beautiful mantra to hold on to at this time. Again, that last piece, I am in full faith that every moment and experience is threaded by the divine. And you're threading it with them. I really get that sense with so much solar energy coming through that you are co-creating this truly with this ritual, like whatever you're putting into the world, and you are, using your own willpower and manifestation to create, it is a co-creation with the universe. And just don't forget that the divine is on your side too, weaving this together for you. You're working together for your own soul's evolution here. So pile 1, I hope that that was supportive for the rest of your 2024, looking into this a little bit more deeply today. And I'm so grateful for you and thankful to all of the planetary energies that will be guiding us and ushering us through the rest of this year. Again, happy solstice to everyone, and hopefully I'll see you all in another reading soon. All right, much love to all of you. Bye. Hey, group 2. Y'all chose the Herkimer diamond. I'll set that over here. And this stack of cards. So today we're looking at the remainder of 2024. And I've got a lot of questions here. We're looking into what is sustaining, like what you're continuing to work on through the rest of the year that you're aware of, and then new things coming in that you are unaware of, looking at opportunities and advice concerning your material world issues, and then opportunities and advice concerning your spiritual life. And then also have planet. We'll draw a card for a planet that might be of particular significance that you can track their cycle through the rest of the year that could be significant for you personally. And also we'll roll the dice to get a house as well to look into in your own chart. And I'll have a final card for in honor of Jupiter moving through Gemini to offer some kind of words of whether affirmation or kind of a mantra that may be supportive for you for the rest of the year. So, woo, that's a lot. I'm gonna, try to be concise here as we move through. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so I kind of want to start actually with the planet and the house. So let's see, for the collective who are watching pile 2, what planet maybe is significant for them for the remainder of 2024? What planet in particular is of significance for them? What planet significant? Let's do this one. Oh, the moon. Okay. These cards are really funny. I don't have any other planet cards. So I'm using these. These are like, they were gifted to me. So, not really gifted. I don't know how to explain the whole story. But anyways, I ended up with them. They serve a purpose. So the artwork is just like very retro, like pop astrology, Anyways, I think they're funny. But let's get a house here. So for pile 2, what house is going to be of significance for them through the rest of 2024? All right, 5th house. Awesome. So we're looking at creativity. This is Leo's house. You should pay attention if you know your chart. Go ahead and go and check out what's going on in your 5th house. Any transits to that house might be really significant for the remainder of 2024, particularly when the moon transits your 5th house. That could be really good opportunities for seeding new projects or, moments of exploring your creativity under the moon, right? Working with the moon more. This is really making me think as well of eclipse season, because the 5th house is Leo's house, and Leo's, the sun rules Leo. So with both the moon and the sun together, this eclipse season could be particularly significant for you as well. So with that, let's move on to the first couple of questions here, which is what is sustaining, what you're continuing to focus on that you're aware of for the remainder of 2024, and then what is new coming forward that you are not aware of for the remainder of 2024. So, collective watching pile 2 here. What will be sustaining in their life for the remainder of 2024? Towards pile 2 for the remainder of 2024 that they are unaware of. gorgeous. Love to see that, with the moon being your planet to pay attention to. And we also have the Hermit on the back here. So let me just pull one more from here, especially for this new energy coming through. Any more insight we can get into this High Priestess energy, especially of new energy coming forward in 2024. Okay. I'm drawn to take that too. All right. And Ouroboros energy. I never really plan out like how I'm going to lay cards out, so I'm sorry everyone. Okay, we got it all. We're good. We're good to go here. Wow. So in terms of what's sustaining, we have this Three of Wands energy. It feels like you've had like plans or some sort of greater vision of projects perhaps that you have wanted to take action on, and that you have been gaining excitement and enthusiasm around. Yeah, especially with that fifth house energy coming through, it just seems like you've got a lot of fires going, right? Like a lot of interest being stirred within you to really start visioning some larger projects and wanting to bring them into fruition in your life. I also always love the way this is depicted in this deck of just kind of this triangle portal of really visioning something creative and beautiful and having that desire and drive to start to take action towards it, even if it's a small action, right? And it could also be that you, like, this is a travel card as well. And I'm getting this sense this person looks like they're running, right? Or hunting under the moon. And you may just be in a place of transition at this time, or yeah, finding new adventures. If you're, it is summer here where I am, so it might be a time that you're exploring, just really adventuring the world and trying out new things. So it seems like an energy, so if this is sustaining, it's something that you'll continue to move forward with in the rest of the year. And then we have this High Priestess energy popping in here, which to me is so great to see with the moon card as well as your card here. There's a lot, I think, that can be birthed through you if you pay deep attention to the lunar cycles and really honor your own intuitive impulses and stillness, and tapping into things, giving yourself the time and the space to create, just opportunities to tap in with this energy as much as possible for the remainder of 2024. I feel you may be surprised by what you actually vision. I'm just drawn to the orb here, right, which is sort of a similar vibe to seeing into it. Almost makes me feel like this card could be that orb in itself, where the High Priestess is doing work to bring through your creative visions in this way that you never imagined, where they're actually deeply created to even, or connected perhaps to a sense of your own spiritual growth and your own spiritual gifts as well. You might be tapping in to some level of your own intuitive wisdom and through the emotions too, like through your emotional body and the things that you're picking up in that sensory way through emotional processing that you're doing with this moon card here too. And it really, like, any things that have kept you, Ouroboros is that image is so powerful and potent. I find it a very, like, when you want to get at the root of something, right? Focus on Ouroboros as a symbol. That's really supportive. And to me, also, the other side of that coin, right, is when we do that, we can get stuck in that energy too. So I'm getting the sense with awe coming out too. It is this like reaching the root of something, and you're experiencing both the mystery and almost just reveling in that in itself, and the emotional impulses, it's like you're tapping in with some other level of awareness that you haven't necessarily experienced or worked with until now, and it's coming through for you maybe through Capricorn season particularly. And it could be as well the Mars-Pluto opposition, since Pluto, that transition, maybe not so much the Mars, but the Pluto moving from Capricorn into Aquarius, I believe that that's going to be a really significant moment of transition for you, particularly to have these deepening into this intuitive self sense here, and maybe getting at the root of something, whether that comes from or is related to your emotional life, or just, I don't know, this just feels highly activating and peaceful. When I was preparing for your reading, I got so much water energy coming through, and that's great that the moon and high priestess came through. It makes total sense. Just this like flowing energy of, it's kind of like the things that you know but you don't know how you know them. It's kind of what I'm getting the feeling of with the second part of this year. Like, whether that means intuitive hits you've had in the past are just coming through in ways that are showing you how true that was, or you're just deepening into something that you maybe have never fully had access to before, but something is opening up here. And this Three of Wands may transform from you having all of these ideas and starting to take action in the material to like that being almost a portal in itself for your awakening of this intuitive knowledge and whatever's coming through, and it creating this sense of awe for you, which is really beautiful to see here. So yeah, this feels very dreamy. I would really say to pay attention to the new and full moons and to eclipse season, like I said, to rein in, this opportunity as much as possible, and giving yourself the space for it to be fully experienced and to move through you however that needs to. It's like you're seeing through something, seeing into some other new experience of reality, really, of what reality could be. Maybe do some moon bathing and moon gazing. And pay attention to your dreams too, I would say, as well. That could be some really significant messages coming through. It might be a time of confusion. Like, there might just be, like I said, like when you know something but you don't know that you know, or you don't know how you know, like kind of that vibe. But I get the sense that it is its own portal. It is driving you deep into a new part of your life and experience, especially through your emotional world, and really helping you understand on a new level how to access these gifts that you possessor are starting to come on board here around your intuitive knowing. So with that, let's look at the next couple of questions here. We're looking at opportunities and advice concerning your material world, and then opportunities and advice concerning the spiritual realm. So for the material world, opportunities and advice, we have the invocation card coming through, and concerning your spiritual life, we have child of the cosmos, the intelligence of the universe lies within you. Which, wow, the colors of this completely matching that orb. It's totally spot on. I'm gonna draw a couple cards from this as well to clarify. So, collective watching pile 2. Can we get a clarifier for this invocation card, please? Material world, opportunities and advice for pile 2. Readjust here. I will be back momentarily. This is really interesting to me with the invocation card, and this is the Page of Cups here with these birds and this bird looking out from this cage that's sort of disappearing here. I get this sense of prayers being answered, or almost understanding your own self as a part of your prayer, like how to work your prayer in the material, if that makes sense, which is so much just you understanding how free you are to move in the world and how connected you are too. Like this bird easily could fly out and reach these other birds, which feel like a reminder of this is my divine light and my voice that I'm sharing in the world, right? My heart. There's such a sense of nurturing here, and with the moon coming through too, and almost like nurturing the inner child. Like the 5th house is about children and our inner child, and the moon is that too in our chart. It represents our childhood itself. And I feel like in the material, there's such a blending here in your reading between the material and the spiritual. So this could just be a really significant opening for you where there is a natural blending of these two things in your life, and they kind of flow in and out. There's not so much separation. Even with like the bars on this cage disappearing, it's like maybe that those are the real world constrictions, right? And you're beginning to see that there are no constrictions put upon you in that, and you can call upon whatever it is that you are desiring for yourself, and you can be a part of that process. And it feels with these two cards coming through in terms of the spiritual life, child of the cosmos, the intelligence of the universe lies within you. And this card is so connected to cycles and to paying attention to the greater cycles of life and having that understanding, like this flowering, right? Flowers don't always bloom all year round. There is a time for you to bloom, and it feels very much like this is a time of your life where spiritually you are blooming and coming into awareness of parts of yourself that maybe you kept away or imagined yourself to be separate from, like these bars in this cage, but that are only an illusion. And there's an awakening going on here for sure, and a blossoming, and it is time for that. It's this moment where you are awakening to something greater in your spiritual life. And this is the Queen of Pentacles too. So again, with that merging of material and spiritual, it's like all over your reading here with, like, this is Page of Cups. So that's that water energy, which is, you know, connected to that emotional presence here. And almost like I'm feeling the emotions as the bridge between the spiritual, like wands being spirit energy, fire essence, right, in that sense, and then yeah, that water like flowing between all. It's like the unconscious, but when we tap into the unconscious realm by shining a light, right, into the places that places that have been hidden from us or we're unaware from, that's when we begin to make the unconscious conscious. And I get this sense that you're just really exploring these hidden realms in your own self, whether that's diving into some inner child experiences or going back into, like, whenever you have large emotions coming up, working through them by tapping into younger parts of yourself to check in and understand more deeply what it was they're going through and how they need to heal. And that in itself pulling you forward into these moments of spiritual awakening and feeling deeper connection. There's a lot here happening for you in your spiritual life that is just coming forward to bless you, really, with this flowering card. And I think you're understanding that fully and recognizing the opportunity of, I see, I can fly, like I can be free in my life in a way that I never have, because my spirituality is like finally like coming in. Finally, I don't know if that feels resonant to you, but yeah, with that word coming through, maybe this is something you have prayed for and something you really desired, and it's felt a little bit hidden from you, but you're, or like you've been in a cage or something, and it's like you're finally seeing the opportunity here that you are free to move through this energy, and almost in that watery sense, like utilizing the emotional realm, the subconscious realm, to enter in and begin to explore that a bit more as like an entryway into that, and through creative process as well, if that relates to you, because I can imagine doing like automatic writing or anything that taps you in, or like I'm thinking of those like line drawings that you do with your eyes closed, or yeah, painting things, like really working with your subconscious through different art practices that might call to you, could be really interesting to play around with at this time too. So paying attention to Neptune, maybe any transits to Neptune, or whenever the moon crosses Neptune at the last degree of Pisces, or as it moves through Pisces, could be interesting time for you to tap in with that subconscious energy, or pay attention to Neptune in your own chart and see how you can utilize and amplify that energy too. Could be advice. I feel like I could get lost in this energy, honestly. I feel like I have been. This is getting long. So let me get the last card here. I love this though for you. It feels very dreamy. So this card was meant to be in honor of Jupiter moving through Gemini and really paying attention to how words are so significant and can really create the world around us, right? So this card is meant to serve as bring forth an affirmation perhaps, or a mantra. And y'all got the transcendence card. I forgot that that's what that was. Wow, how beautiful. Of course, I mean, this is just, again, like you are expanding in some way in your spiritual life, and just as a spiritual being, right? As a being of light, having an experience on this planet, like you are reaching new levels for sure. And I wanted to read, the book has these little mantras for each card, so I thought it would be nice to offer So for the Transcendence card, oh, the first quote is, wherever you go, go with all your heart. I love that. So the mantra here is, I embody the energy of transcendence in heart, spirit, and mind. I trust all signs and embrace the new energies I continue to find. I love that. I think that's such good, like those are such positive words to speak when you're moving through High Priestess energy, when you're moving through mystery, right? When you're in Neptunian realms, when you're working with the moon, to find that trust of what you're experiencing and sensing and seeing and hearing, all of those things, right? As there are these subtle awakenings coming through your experience here that may be unlike anything you've had happen before, and to continue to trust and to just let more and more open you up, right? Obviously finding a way to ground yourself. I have a feeling, I feel tapping in with the cycles themselves, really honoring how things move through time, and the moon coming out for you. This is the fastest moving body in the sky, and for that to come through in this reading just makes me feel like the moon is your guide. The moon is really your guide at this time to support tapping in further with the cycles themselves of the planets and how they move and how it feels to you in your personal chart. Like, watch when the moon crosses your ascendant and then see how that journey feels over that entire 29 days. Like, what is it? What do you experience? What patterns can you see coming through? What moments are aha moments for you, right? When the moon crosses certain points of your chart, that you can see yourself expanding in this way at those times. Which ones feel quieter? Which ones feel louder? What are a little bit more sticky? Which ones bring out sweetness? What feels more harsh to you as the moon travels through? Really paying attention to cycles, I feel, is going to help you ground. And it's in that way of bridging the material and the spiritual through tapping in with the cycles. So, all right, I'm gonna stop it here, pile 2. Thank you so much for sharing your energy. I wish you so many blessings through the second half of this year, and I hope this reading was supportive and helpful to you. If you are interested in leaving a comment, that would be cool. That helps out my channel. Or if anything came through, whatever, you know what to do. Y'all are awesome. Thank you for being here again, and I hope to see you at another reading for sure. Thanks, y'all. Bye. Hey, pile 3, welcome to your reading. Y'all chose the black kyanite here. I'll set it over here. I took a little pause before I came back to film your reading, so I'm excited to get back into it. And yeah, we're looking at the rest of 2024, and I've got a whole bunch of questions. These are a few pre-shuffled, but we have a lot to get into. So we're first looking at a planet, a particular planet that might be one that you want to track or pay more closer attention to in your personal chart or in the transits. So we'll do that, and also roll the die to get a house in your chart as well that could be relevant. And then we are asking, what is sustaining right now? Like, what will continue to be present and that you'll focus on for the remainder of 2024 that you're already aware of? And then what is moving towards you or entering your life that you are unaware of? And then we'll look at opportunities and advice concerning the material world, and then opportunities and advice concerning your spiritual life. And then we will, in honor of Jupiter in Gemini, we have a card that can offer a kind of mantra or like using words as a form of support. So that will be our last card there. So yeah, let's jump into the planet and the house here. So we'll see for you for the second half of 2024 for collective watching pile 3 here. What planet might be significant for them to pay close attention to? Collective watching pile 3. And we have the moon. This actually came out for pile 2 as well, so you might be drawn to that. Maybe it's just a lunar time for the collective. So I'll leave that, and then let's roll the dice here. So for collective watching pile 3, what house might be of relevance for them during the second half of 2024? All right, the 9th house, awesome. That is Jupiter's realm there. So Jupiter going through Gemini may actually have a big impact on you. And whatever zodiac sign is on the cusp of your 9th house, could be a pertinent time for whenever planets move through that or transit through that, or particularly when the moon each month moves through your 9th house, might be a good time to pay close attention to events unfolding or sudden insights you have, perhaps little dips into the subconscious that are bringing something into light. Wherever that is for you, I would say pay attention to see what's unfolding during that time period. Definitely could bring some interesting insights for 2024. So let's look at this first question here. I'm going to draw some from the Wild Unknown Tarot around what is sustaining, what is going to continue unfolding essentially during the rest of the year that you already are aware of. And yeah, and then we'll look at what is newly coming towards you. So for the collective watching pile 3, what is sustaining for them for the rest of 2024? Justice card. That's really interesting because when I left the studio and then came back, there was a card on the floor from a completely different deck that I didn't use, and I was like, how did this get here? That doesn't usually happen to me. And it was the Justice card from a different deck. So okay, and what is moving towards you, towards my pile 3s during the second half of 2024 that they are unaware of? Perhaps moving towards you, it could be something new or something re-entering your life as well, especially with that Pluto retrograding back into Capricorn. So pile 3, it's moving towards them that they are unaware of during 2024. Nice. Okay, and I'm just going to pull a few from here as well. Maybe we'll do, can we get a couple for clarification on this Justice card, please? Totally want to get, because it flipped over, yeah. This feels relevant. Flipped over at the beginning here. And then, anything to clarify this Mother of Cups energy. So this Justice card is coming out for what is sustaining, right? And I get the sense that you have been going through a process throughout the first part of 2024 of really trying to find a sense of inner harmony, of creating balance in your life in some significant way. I'm getting a feeling of bringing more of your truth forward, and even getting to a place where you understand what that is. It's interesting that the first breath, which is my Aries card, came out too. It's making me think of the North Node being in Aries, and how this time for really a lot of us, like Justice is the Libra card, right? So the North Node has been in Aries, the South Node has been in Libra, which is all about partnerships versus our own, self-agency and individuation. And so it's been finding again a way to reconcile these things essentially. And this card is making me think that that's been a bit of an internal process for you, and then maybe reflecting outwards in your relationships. And like Call the Rocks is making me feel community here. So perhaps needing to understand come back to a place of understanding interdependency and what that means to you versus perhaps codependency or patterns that have left you feeling out of balance in situations with others. This could, of course, be some sort of legal matter or something that you've been trying to really take care of in your life. Being the Justice card, I love in this deck too that we have like the black and the white cat. It brings in that sense of duality and of holding your own shadow and light, right? And honoring both sides of that and understanding the truth between the two. And that brings this all potentials, right? It's almost like when we can hold both of those things, we hold the paradox, it allows us to see all potentials coming forward. So I get this sense that even with the moon too, like using the moon's light to steer you through the subconscious to find ways to reach more of this potential, where maybe before it has felt very black and white thinking, where it felt difficult to navigate your life in a way of standing in your own truth because it would feel in opposition to another person or something. Whereas you're learning how to actually hold your truth, and it can be just that, and it doesn't have to be about anyone else, really. Is what I'm gathering from that. And there's so much more than you even imagined when we break open our mind in that sense and find, like, I just lit that sword of truth, right, coming straight down the center of that, really finding that sweet spot of understanding and breaking through any mental patterns that have kept you in a place of feeling stuck between one side or another side or something like that. So that's sort of what I'm getting here. That'll be a sustaining theme perhaps through the rest of 2024. And then we have this sweet Mother of Cups coming through as what you're not seeing coming, that's moving towards you for the remainder of this year that you are unaware of, right? So this could be someone in your life who is going to be bringing a nurturing presence, and the way that this swan is like facing towards the Justice card makes me wonder if there's someone who might step into your life, a mentoring figure or a counselor or therapist, or even just a loving, nurturing figure, maybe even a maternal figure that wants to really, really offer you care and support through whatever is coming up through this Justice energy, and deeply give you space to rest and to have the time to, like, the openness to be able to sit even deeper with whatever you're processing through. as well. And this totally makes me think of the moon too. The Mother of Cups energy feels very connected to the moon, and this big cat energy. This is my like reminder of, you know, when it's go time, it's go time. When it's rest time, it's rest, you know, and not to feel like you have to rush yourself, like understanding it's again, it's its own natural balance, right? Like when we're full on and in that knowing that it's time to go, it's time to make that catch, right? It's time to eat. The big cat knows when that is, and most of the time though it's asleep, right? Most of the time those big cats are just napping and know how to preserve their energy, because it takes a lot for them to come out and do what they need to do to survive. So I get the sense that someone is coming in, or this could be you stepping into that role in a surprising way, and through whatever you've been going through here, somehow that transforming and allowing you to be that for someone else, which is really beautiful to see too. This plant consciousness card, you know, this is working with different plant energies, plant spirits, and you might be feeling called in the second half of 2024 to do that. This, of course, can be done in many different ways, whether it's just through something simple and more mild as like using plant or using flower essences or something like that, all the way to doing actual ceremonies with some of the more plants that induce like altered states of reality. So if that's something you're being called to, I would say it looks like there's an opening for that kind of energy to come through. And it's giving me the sense of weirdly being aligned with the big cat energy, because it has that same vibe of like when it's go time, it's go time. Like if you are feeling called to do that work, it's such a heightened experience, and then it takes a lot of integration and rest afterwards, right? So that's just a little bit that's coming through around that energy is what I'm seeing. So I really, yeah, it seems that whoever's showing up for you is really truly there for your heart and there to help you mend any wounds, to support you in any kind of difficulties that are coming through with this Justice card, and to give you again the space that you need in order to come to that place of regulation and balance that you seem to be on this path towards at this time. So let's go ahead and grab these other cards here. So the next question was opportunities and advice concerning the material world, and then opportunities and advice concerning your spiritual life. So for the material world, we have this Don't Let It In card coming through. And in terms of your spiritual life, opportunities, advice coming through, we have trust the timing, trust the wave you came in on, time is not running out. And I'm also gonna draw a couple of cards here to clarify these. So for the collective watching pile 3, can we please get clarifiers for these? So in the material world, what are opportunities and advice for the collective watching pile 3? screen. Oh, it's not. So group 3, I'm getting the sense this is the card for the material, right? Opportunities and advice for the material, this don't let it in. That you are really starting to clearly discern who is right to bring into your world and who isn't. And with the Justice card coming through, it's almost as if this process that you've been in of creating balance for yourself in whatever way that looks like to you in your life, it is giving you, it's bringing up a lot, is what it feels like. Because with the 3 of Swords and the 5 of Swords coming out together to clarify this, it's almost as if you are having to face a lot of your own internal narratives, your own perceptions or projections, the fears that you hold inside about how other people might be holding your decisions. This Justice card really like being decisions that you make in life too, and the consequences essentially from standing in our own truth, for better or worse, right? And that can be intense sometimes. And with the 3 of Swords coming through, there could be heartache involved in this, truly. And I think the advice here, this coming through as advice, is to let yourself move through the frozen, like to not get stuck in the pain of the situation, but to allow the emotions to move through you as this person is crying and creating that warmth through the tears to melt the ice. Because these are passing cards, but right, this isn't like major arcana here, and it is giving you an opportunity for change, and it is a time for change for you. And the comparison card too, it's like you're coming to this place. It's funny because that just is, again, feels, it's like comparing 2 things, right? Essentially, it's like me versus this other thing. I think you're entering a whole new way of understanding yourself as a part of the world, where that's not how you view things anymore. And this is an opportunity. It's almost saying, when it comes up in that way, that it's a moment to be reminded of, hey, I don't function that way anymore. I don't actually see life in that way. That only brings me pain, right? Like when I'm using comparison to keep myself limited, I'm stopping myself from seeing all the potentials that I can see when I am in my blade of truth, and it's beyond this black and white, right? It's entering a whole new space entirely. It's literally the rainbow tears coming from my eyes, right? It's seeing a completely new world where that form of duality can be a paradox that I hold in a state of way more oneness. And so I think the advice, this is all very, I guess I'm not good. I guess this is material. I don't know. Obviously this is collective too, so I'm not sure how this is playing out in your life exactly. So this could of course be in any kind of scenario, whether you're noticing these feelings of comparison come through in your work environments, in relationship, to friends, to romantic partners, to any feelings that are arising that bring out this sense of feeling I should be somewhere that I'm not, or I should have something that I don't have, etc., etc. And there's a breaking point here. Like, you've reached a breaking point, it feels, and this sort of truth is coming down. I mean, this Justice card has that Ace of Swords on it, and it really is. I'm just noticing these cats too are just staring out at the viewer, and it feels, it is holding this sense of truth and that big cat energy. There's a lot of like primal animal force in this. I wonder too, during the Mars-Pluto opposition, if a lot of things might begin coming to the surface for you in terms of older, like deep-seated fears, because Pluto can be the subconscious fears that we hold over our lives. Pluto holds all of our shame, and Mars, when it comes through, really can activate things and aggravate them and just call them up forward and be very instinctual about that, because Mars is our survival mechanism. So it might be a moment where things are really coming to the surface, especially whenever the moon is transiting that opposition specifically. Just watch out for that, because you want, like, what's happening too, this is ninth house, okay? So that's such a calling right there of, this is a time for you to massively change your beliefs. It is an opportunity for you to shift your thinking entirely and move into a place that is truly rooted in what you do hold, what you do deeply value, and getting very clear on what those things are, and the way that you understand morality in your own life, and how you want to actually see that through in your actions in this life. And yeah, if you are experiencing loss because of the way you're shifting in this sense, and you're having these new perspectives come through, and you're understanding, having more discernment around what's right for you and what isn't right for you, and what aligns with your true understanding and your sense, again, about morality, and faith, the things that you have faith in. Jupiter is so much about that, like things, having faith in life, having hope in life again. And so for the ninth house to be highlighted here feels like a test in faith or something. And so these two coming through, I really like that we have the Page of Pentacles and the Trust the Timing card come through on the other side in terms of spiritual life, because this is all going on at the same time, right? Because to me it's saying this is an opportunity, right? Jupiter is the teacher, the philosopher, and with Page of Pentacles, it is an opportunity for learning. This child tapping back into whatever child self it was, who perhaps got these distorted ideas around what it means to exist in this material world, right? Where we are constantly shown that the only way to move forward is to compare ourselves to others. And we, all of these ways that we hold ourselves back because we buy into what other people's idea of truth is and whatnot. And this adventure card coming through is so much, and you have the Aries card too. This is giving me some Aries energy here, and also Fool card kind of vibe. It feels like an opportunity, with this being as part of your spiritual piece here, to begin allowing yourself to be pulled by your own higher light, by your own higher wisdom, and whatever brings you fascination, the things that incite a curiosity in you that you actually feel within your heart space, and are almost just magnetically pulling you forward when it comes to your spiritual practices or philosophies, or gurus, whoever, wisdom teachers, leaders, the like thought thinkers. I think it's a really interesting time that you can let yourself be pulled in by the information specifically that is really calling to your soul, and do so in a way where you can hold it with a light touch too. Like, you're just this Page of Pentacles, you're here to explore. You don't need to ground any belief systems or ideologies or anything into your life right now. You can try things on. Like, you can really go exploring and see how it feels. How might that integrate into your life and your practices? How might you let it flow through, and then decide, oh, this isn't actually a belief or a way of understanding the world that I necessarily want to hold for very long. It feels like an opportunity here. And with the Trust the Timing, it just goes right hand in hand with that. It's saying the information, I really find it fascinating, the way that I get drawn to read certain books at different points in time. Or I'll buy a book. I had this happen recently where I had bought a book I don't even know, it was like 5 years ago or something, and I had this inkling of, I really want to learn this specific information. And I remembered I had this book, and yeah, I bought it 5 years ago, and I was looking through, I'm like, oh my God, this is exactly what I want to be learning right now. And I was so grateful that I had bought that book before, and it was just there waiting for me to look at it. And I think that might be happening to you. And I'm just sensing, like, trust whatever is happening in that way, of the information that's like laying itself on your path for you to just pick up and play with and explore. And that might even involve this plant consciousness too, like getting closer to the plants that live natively where you are, and learning about them and understanding their medicine, and the, you know, how you might interact with them in different ways too. As it just feels a bit like this is an opportunity to support this time when you are being faced, it seems, with some old, just, whether this is difficult relationships coming to the surface, like conflicts between them, like I said, during that Mars-Pluto opposition, or old, like, deep-seated feelings that you haven't processed yet, and you're like, why am I feeling so upset about this thing, or why am I comparing myself again, and etc., etc. I think it is an opportunity, one, to go a little deeper and get to the root of it more, to truly understand and explore again, like the moon in those subconscious realms. And the moon is also our inner child and our childhood. So getting to a place, even this might be interesting to tap into. What were the like, did you have a specific religion that you grew up with? Tapping into the things when you were a child that you were taught about your belief system, about God, about the divine, about all of those things could be interesting at this time to investigate, because there is a bit of an overhaul, it seems to happening, and at the same time this amazing opportunity for you to just slowly begin opening yourself and letting yourself move towards this rainbow light of information. It feels like information, and like, whether that be occulted information or anything you're drawn to, right? I mean, even tarot, if watching tarot readings has become something you're interested in and you've never done it on your own, this could be an interesting time to get a deck and play around and start learning the archetypes and understanding it for yourself. There's so much happening here, and this timing is like coming back in tune with your own timing. And with the moon, even tracking the moon cycles, I think I mentioned that already, like really following how the moon moves through your own personal natal chart as well would be supportive around trusting the timing and really recognizing what happens. How do I feel? Like, what am I experiencing when there's a full moon or a new moon, especially? You know, what's coming to the surface during those moments? Yeah. So I'm going to get the final card here, which we're just looking at for this Jupiter and Gemini. Some kind of affirmation. This deck actually has like mantras and affirmations written in the book, so I thought it would be cool to look at that. So y'all got the resistance card. So I'll put that there. And the book mantra. Let's see. Says, as I move closer to areas of resistance, I find that in this space I will actualize my freedom. Where I once felt trapped, I am now in full liberation from all fear, doubt, and indecision. I am a force of gentleness, and I move and flow with divine precision. I love that, and it's making me feel like it's just kind of Two of Pentacles-ish, and I'm thinking of balancing again. And this card speaks to those finger traps, the Chinese finger traps, and how when we resist it, it just makes it pull tighter, and how we have to kind of move towards the resistance, and then it loosens, essentially. I really feel that you are at this time moving closer to the things that before you would have resisted, you would have moved away from. You're not just trying to create harmony here with the Justice card, you're literally looking for your truth in these things in the past that you have seen as polar opposites, that you have seen there's no reconciling here, essentially. It feels like, no, there's a pathway through, is what it feels like. Even just the fact that this sword is kind of cutting straight through these two cards. It's like there's not an either or here. There's something else in the resistance. Sometimes it's so tempting to want to have something to oppose. It really is. And when we understand fully how to soften to our own selves, soften to the fact that it's okay if you're in a place of sorrow. It's okay if you're in a place of comparison. There's nothing wrong with those experiences or emotions coming to the surface. You can actually have that sensation and that be perfectly fine and want things to change at the same time. And learning how to hold that together and not come from a place of harsh judgment of self and just allowing it to be is what creates that, release, that emotional, like the warmth that can come through us. This warmth of this mother of cups here. And yeah, I think that's beautiful. So whether maybe you are having people do that for you and you're also doing that for others too, you're learning how to do that. Because this is ultimate compassion, right? Compassion for self and for others. And that maturity that comes from that place of being able to hold integrity of self and compassion for others exactly where they are, right? And that to me is releasing that resistance and coming to a place of acceptance, which we don't lose anything when we come to that level of acceptance. We actually gain so much, because it is what creates the waters to flow again, in my opinion, and what I've really seen and felt in my own life. Because when we do hold things too tightly, it just continues the cycle of push and pull, right? Over and over and over again. And I really sense that you are zooming your way out of that completely, or trying to find your way out of it. And you're making strides at the end of 2024 here, out of that experience. Yeah, so just continue to follow the things that especially you feel a sensation of warmth in your heart when you read them. Things that bring you to tears, whether that be, media or books or whatever it is, pay attention to that music. Particular plant tinctures or essences, smells, just experiencing the energy of plants, whatever is moving you truly is going to be very supportive to your path, for sure, at this time. And keeping it, like I said, with a light touch. Like, it doesn't have to be your forever thing. I think moving out of this space, maybe where your life had felt like you have to choose between one thing or another thing, or it's not going to work, right? Like, I have to do it this way, or I have to do it that way. There's no in between. You're coming to this place where, through maybe the spiritual life, you're finding a path that is exactly your own, and it's meant to unfold that way, where you don't have to have so much pressure put upon making decisions that are these like finality kind of ways of thinking, but you're entering like a rainbow, like a rainbow consciousness or something. This all potentials. I knew that card, it popped over first. So I'm like, I really feel drawn to that all potentials card. There just seems to be something here for you where you're allowing that to come through a lot more and just open this ability to drop your guard a bit and understand a new way of existing beyond facing every single thing with a sense of resistance. Yeah, I think I will leave it there. Group 3, thank you so much for listening to the reading today and sharing your energy. I really wish you all the best and so much love. It looks like you're going to have a lot of support coming through with this Mother of Cups for the remainder of 2024. And yeah, so many blessings to you. May you be well and healthy. And yeah, hopefully I will see y'all in another reading. Bye.